Welcome to this journey. A journey you probably didn't plan to start today. But here you are, listening to these words right now. Maybe it's a coincidence. Or maybe the universe is starting to answer you. I want you to imagine this. You're in the sea, surrounded by water on all sides. In the distance, you see the shore, and you dive in hard, determined with all your might, because you believe that if you don't make it, you'll drown. You swim, you struggle, you push yourself, no matter how hard you try, the shore doesn't get any closer. You just end up feeling more tired, disappointed, and lost. Then something unexpected happens. You stop fighting, not because you gave up, but because you just can't anymore. And that's exactly when the water starts gently pushing you. You weren't supposed to fight the sea, you just needed to go with the flow. That's how the law we're about to explore works. That's how life works when we stop chasing after things. At first, it might feel awkward, but once you really get it, it's freeing. It's a contradictory, almost provocative idea. The more you chase something, the further it slips away. Yeah, it's that simple and that deep. Maybe you've felt it before, when you desperately wanted someone to love you. And the harder you held on, the colder things got. When you were desperate for a project to succeed and the pressure crushed your creativity. Or when you needed to find meaning in life so badly that with every attempt you felt more and more lost. It all comes down to what's called the law of reverse effect. It basically says, the harder you try to be happy, the unhappier you get, because wanting happiness means you don't have it. And the universe, like a mirror, reflects that lack back to you. So what if the key isn't to chase after more, but to want less? What if letting go works better than pushing? You're not alone in feeling this way. At some point, we've all been desperate chasers of something. Love, success, money, meaning, peace. And we did it with the best intentions because we were taught that if you don't fight for what you want, you don't deserve it. We were told that dreams only come true if you tirelessly chase after them, that the universe rewards the persistent. But what if that's not true? What if that constant striving is actually what's causing us pain? What if trying to control things too much and demanding guaranteed results takes away the magic of the unexpected? This audiobook isn't about giving up on your desires. It's not about settling or shrinking yourself. It's more about quietly letting go, stopping the need for everything to happen exactly how you want. It's about freeing your dreams from the pressure of urgency. And when you no longer need them to feel whole, that's when they start to come true. In this journey, we'll be exploring these ideas. Yeah, but above all, it's about experience, real lives that changed not when they hit success, but when they stopped trying so hard. About people who one day decided to let go a little and found unexpected answers. Because letting go doesn't mean giving up. Letting go means trusting. Letting go means telling the universe, I'm available, but not desperate. I'm open, but not empty. On these pages, I'll share some of those stories with you. Stories of transformation, incredible coincidences, everyday miracles. And I'll share some of my own too, with all the falls, lessons, and times when I wanted something so badly that I pushed it away without even realizing it. I want you to feel like you're not alone, not like someone being taught a lesson from above, but like someone walking alongside another who also had to let go, wait, trust, and discover that sometimes what you want most only finds you when you stop chasing it. Just imagine for a moment that the universe is a mirror, super accurate, but also really sensitive. It doesn't reflect what you say with words, but what you feel in your body. It doesn't respond to your statements, but to your vibes. When you want something out of need, this mirror shows you lack. When you act from scarcity, the reflection you get is even more scarcity. But if you start acting from a place of peace, confidence, and knowing you're already enough, then the universe shifts almost effortlessly to bring you abundance. This isn't some esoteric idea or anything. Here's the magic formula. It's emotional logic and energy law, a quiet truth that many traditions have intuitively understood. Everything you chase out of anxiety slips away, but everything you let go of calmly often comes back. Transformed. The universe doesn't need you to shout about what you want. Just show it that you're no longer afraid if you don't get it. I want you to feel free. Free to judge what you hear. You're free to agree or disagree. This audiobook isn't here to convince you of anything. Its only goal is to plant a seed. A seed that, if you choose to nurture it, might bring you some unexpected rewards. But you can also just leave it where it is, no guilt, no pressure. My only request is that you listen with curiosity. Not the kind of curiosity that demands immediate answers, but the kind that observes, tries things out, experiments. With an open mind that says, what if this is true? Maybe. Some things here might bother you, others might even move you to tears. And maybe, without even realizing it, by the end of this journey something inside you will have changed. You might not show it on the outside, but inside, a new kind of confidence could take shape. Confidence that you don't have to chase after anything to get it. Confidence that you're worthy, even without fighting for it. And since every journey starts with a first step, I want to offer you one very specific step at the end. Try a little personal experiment, a 7-day challenge. It won't take extra effort, time, or complicated techniques. It only asks one thing from you, to let go. For these 7 days, pick one desire, that thing occupying your mind or heart right now. Instead of chasing it, thinking about it over and over, imagining all the ways it might come true, you'll let it go. Take a deep breath and just allow it to drift away. Not giving up on it, not forgetting it, just letting it be, freeing him from control. For these 7 days, you'll just watch your emotions, your thoughts, the little changes. And who knows, maybe something will finally shift. Maybe you'll realize that when you stop chasing something, the universe starts following you instead. Chapter 1. The Mirage of Desire. Desire is like an oasis in the middle of a desert. From afar, it glows, looks real. Looks close, it shines so brightly that it drives you forward, through the burning heat of expectations, uncertainty, and blind faith. You look at it and think, once I get there, everything will change. Once I have that, everything will fall into place. But often, when you finally arrive, you realize it wasn't water at all, just a reflection. Or maybe it was water, but it didn't quench your thirst. You just realize there's another thirst beneath it, deeper, more demanding. And then you look up and see a new oasis and run toward it. So, without even noticing, you end up spending your whole life chasing illusions, never stopping to ask yourself why you're still craving more. No one ever taught you this, but today you'll start to realize that not everything you want is what you actually need, and not everything you need is out there somewhere. There's a phrase that's been haunting us since we were kids. A promise whispered in movies, ads, and motivational quotes. When you get what you want, you'll be happy. And without thinking, we accept that as the ultimate truth. That's how the race begins. When I find a partner, I'll be happy. When I get this job, I'll be happy. When I lose weight, when I buy that house, when everyone recognizes me, when I start making more money, when I fit in, then finally I'll be able to breathe. But that's the trap, because as soon as you reach your goal, you're not the same person anymore. Your mind, trained to put off happiness, just looks for the next reason to keep running. So you end up stuck in this endless loop, believing peace is always just one step away. There's nothing wrong with having goals. What really messes us up is turning desire into a condition for inner peace. That's what makes it a mirage. What seemed like a solution was just another distraction. But what if peace isn't found at the end of the road? What if fulfillment doesn't come from achievement, but from how you get there? We live in a culture obsessed with achievements, results, and obligations. And this obsession has taken something important from us, the right to be happy right now, even when we want something more. You can want something and still be at peace with what you already have. This balance might seem like a paradox, but it's actually one of the most powerful keys to success. Because if you need your desire to come true in order to feel good, you're basically chaining yourself. But if you want something from a place of inner freedom without needing it, then you can move forward without weighing down your soul. Ask yourself honestly, what do you think will change in you if you get what you want so badly? Will you feel more valuable, more worthy of love? The truth is, no, the results you get from outside can't give you what you don't already believe you deserve. Here's where one of the sneakiest traps shows up. Wanting something disguised as a need. Wanting from a place of plenty is totally different from wanting from emptiness. When you want something from a calm place, you can let it go. But when you want something out of fear of not having it, you cling to it. And the tighter you hold on, the smaller the world feels, the harder the path becomes, and the more impossible the outcome seems. There's a big difference between wanting and needing something. Wanting is natural. It's about growth, inspiration. But needing? That's a silent cry that says, without this, I'm not enough. And from that place of urgency, everything you do is tinged with anxiety. Everything you ask for carries a mark of lack. It's like trying to hug with clenched fists. No matter how hard you try, you can't receive if you're not willing to open up. And to open up, you have to stop being afraid of losing control. We were taught that desire is the engine of life, that if you don't want something, you won't move forward. Like, if you don't fight for what you want, you don't deserve it. Since we were kids, we've heard stuff like, if you want it, you can do it. If you dream, you'll achieve it. And never stop until you get there. And sure, there's some truth in sticking with things, but there's also a dangerous part in that message. The idea that if you don't want something, you're not really living. So we start judging our worth based on how badly we want things. If we don't have goals, we feel like we're failing. If we're not fighting for something, we feel like we're falling behind when it comes to new things. And in trying to live up to expectations, we mix up passion with pressure. Desire can be a spark, sure, but if we don't learn to keep it steady, it turns into a fire that destroys everything, burns our peace, and drains our energy. And what's worse, it makes us rely on something outside ourselves to feel whole. Life isn't about achievements. It's about the moments we spend trying to reach them. And if those moments are full of stress, disappointment, and anxiety about having to get everything done, even if you do achieve what you want, you end up losing the most valuable thing, the present moment. That present moment that won't come back, that doesn't wait, that slips away while you're busy making plans for the future. Every time you tie your well-being to an outcome, you push off the chance to live peacefully right now. You're basically telling your mind, we can't be happy yet. We haven't reached the goal. And that waiting becomes your emotional routine, your new normal. Absence, struggle, waiting. Here's another big paradox. The more desperately you want something to happen, the further away it feels. And it's not a punishment, it's resonance. Your energy is vibrating with lack, with shortage, and like a track's like. Your need sends out a signal, and life answers in the same way, making you need even more. Consider this simple yet powerful example: insomnia. Have you ever been utterly exhausted, desperate to sleep, only to find that the harder you try, the more awake you become? You lie down, close your eyes, fix your pillow, count 1, 2, change positions, take a deep breath, and nothing. Your mind keeps saying, I have to fall asleep. Tomorrow's going to be tough. Please, I need to sleep. But with every thought, you drift further away from sleep. Why does this happen? Because the very act of trying to fall asleep creates tension. And tension is the opposite of rest. Sleep doesn't come from effort. It comes from letting go. The same thing happens with a lot of other stuff we want. Love, inspiration, calmness, clarity. The more we try to force them, the more they push back. Not because we don't deserve them, but because we try to control them with hard energy out of need. And need, by its nature, blocks the flow. That doesn't mean we should stop wanting. Desire is part of us. It's creative energy, the life force that sparks projects, movement, discoveries. There's nothing wrong with wanting. What we need to change is the way we approach it, where our desires come from. When a desire springs from inspiration, curiosity, or playfulness, it feels light, flexible, and vibrant. But when it comes from anxiety, comparison, or fear of lacking, it gets heavy, demanding, and makes us suffer. The same goal can feel like growth or a burden. Pure desire doesn't demand anything. It doesn't tie your worth or peace to it. It doesn't say, if you don't achieve this, you'll fail. It whispers, what if this is possible too? The best part is that the purest wishes, the ones that don't demand or beg, usually come true because they're not tainted by fear, but filled with truth. You probably know someone whose life seems smooth, someone who doesn't overthink, stress, or compete, yet they still manage to succeed. Not because they're perfect or have no problems, but because there's something about how they relate to the world that radiates ease, confidence, and magnetism. They don't fight over every little thing, but they also don't just sit back and take it easy. They go with the flow. And interestingly, without even trying hard, they achieve more than many who burn out from constant struggle. This isn't failure, it's about being in sync vibrationally. These people are tuned not just to their goals but to their inner state. They ask not from a place of lack, but from gratitude. So when they make requests, the universe doesn't hear worry, it hears confidence. You can't get this kind of vibe from techniques or forced affirmations. They grow from being present, accepting yourself, and truly believing you don't have to chase anything to deserve it. That's where things get interesting, because if you just pause for a moment, take a breath, and look inside, you can ask yourself an important question. What feeling is really behind my desire? Is it love or fear? Excitement or doubt? Am I wanting this because it inspires me, or because I'm afraid of not having it? A lot of desires are just masks that hide deeper wounds. The drive for success often comes from a fear of not being enough. The need for love can hide a fear of being alone. The craving for recognition usually stems from low self-esteem. And if we don't notice this, we keep chasing goals that will never fill the emptiness we're trying to cover up. But if you let yourself see your desire as a mirror, not as a command from the universe, but as an invitation to better understand yourself, then you'll start to healing. You start to want things differently. And when a desire comes from truth, it stops hurting and begins to guide you. If you look closely, desire turns out to be a teacher in disguise. It's not just there to push you toward what you want, but to show you what you haven't healed yet. And that's its greatest gift. It gives you a chance to look inside yourself, not to punish you, but to help you understand where you're coming from, where your asking comes from, where your dreaming comes from. When you stop using desire as a way to escape and start seeing it as a tool for awareness, a deep change happens. You begin to want things without the need to chase them anxiously, to trust without having all the answers. This chapter isn't about giving up on your dreams. On the contrary, it invites you to want more freely, to let go of the tension that keeps you from enjoying the journey, to remember that you don't have to earn anything. You already deserve it just by being. And sometimes, when you let go, desire, when it's no longer treated as a condition, turns into a bridge to yourself and to a new way of being in life. Chapter 2. The reverse law. There's a law that doesn't show up in physics textbooks but quietly rules much of our emotional life. A law that goes against common logic, everything we've been taught about hard work, merit, and results. Alan Watts called it the law of reverse action. And even though it sounds complicated, it's actually super simple. The more you chase something, the more you reinforce its absence in your life. That's it. It might sound crazy. How can wanting something really badly push it away from you? Doesn't not wanting something drive your actions? Yeah, but there's a catch. And that catch changes everything. The key is that your desire is sending a message to the universe and to yourself. Because when you crave something, you're not showing completeness. You're basically shouting, I don't have this. I'm missing this. Without it, I'm not whole. And that kind of energy doesn't attract, it pushes away. The law of attraction doesn't say you can't have what you want. It's not that he says wanting something is bad. Rather, he argues with an unsettling kind of logic that the way you want something shapes what actually happens. When you want from a place of fullness, curiosity, or playfulness, the desire flows naturally. It's like a genuine expression of the soul. But when you want out of need, urgency, or lack, that desire turns into tension, obsession, and blocks you. Picture yourself in a pool for a second. You're trying to swim, but you're so scared of drowning that your movements are awkward, forced, and desperate. And the more you thrash around, the harder you try not to sink, until you're completely exhausted and finally stop struggling. Then, almost magically, the water holds you up. This is the opposite law in action. The paradox is that by letting go of control, balance appears. When you stop chasing something, space opens up to receive it. It feels like a contradiction, an annoying paradox that challenges everything we've been taught. Since we were kids, we've been told that if we want something with all our heart, if we keep fighting tirelessly, If we visualize it every day, the universe will give it to us. You'll achieve it because you truly want it. And yeah, this idea sounds convincing until reality doesn't match up. Until, no matter how hard you try, what you want just doesn't come. Then you start doubting yourself. Maybe I don't want it enough? Maybe I'm doing something wrong? Maybe I don't deserve it. But maybe the problem isn't the desire itself, but the tension that comes with it. Maybe it's not about drawing things in. When we cling and demand, we don't invite possibilities, we push them away. The opposite principle reminds us that trying too hard shows lack. Desperate wanting reveals need, and need, while understandable, vibrates at a frequency of shortage. The universe doesn't respond to how badly you want something. It responds to the quality of your presence. Imagine you're looking for your keys all over the house. You get anxious, rush around, and just can't find them. You keep checking the same drawer, the same bag, under the same pillows again and again. Your mind is running at full speed. Where are they? What if they're not there? What if I'm late? And just when you give up, when you stop to catch your breath, when you calm down, they show up right in front of you in the most obvious spot. It's not magic, it's perception. It's how stress affects our clarity. When you want something desperately, your focus narrows, your energy tightens, and you can't see what's right in front of you because you're too busy searching for it. The paradox is this: the harder you push, the more resistance you create, and the less life seems to flow. Sometimes what you're desperately chasing is actually close by, just blocked by your own worries. The opposite of chasing isn't giving up, it's letting go. The opposite of obsessive desire isn't apathy. It's not being passive or indifferent. The opposite of forced wanting is a calm desire that comes from connection, not emptiness. It doesn't demand, it invites. It doesn't push, it allows. And that's exactly what the law is trying to show us. No need to get rid of desire, just free it from the fear that's messing it up. When you want something out of fear, of not having it, not being enough, or not achieving it, everything feels urgent. Every move carries anxiety. Every thought becomes rigid. Every step is tense. And that's where things get complicated. Not because the universe is cruel, but because you're closing the door yourself with your own despair. On the other hand, when you want something from a place of confidence, openness just happens naturally. No overdoing it. No struggle, no inner conflict. It's just a natural, smooth, deep flow, like a flower opening up in the sun without forcing itself to bloom. One of the main lessons of this law is that not all effort leads to results. We've been told that everything good requires hard work, that those who don't give up succeed, and that there's no reward without sacrifice. And sure, there's value in persistence, commitment, and dedication, but there's a big difference between effort driven by love and effort driven by fear. When you do something because you enjoy it, because you love the process, because you feel whole while doing it, it feels easy. It doesn't weigh you down, burn you out, or break you. But when you do something out of fear, fear of not reaching the goal, not being good enough, not being liked, those efforts become exhausting, toxic, unbearable. And that's exactly when the law of inverse dependence kicks in strongest, because your anxious efforts send out a vibe of urgency. The universe doesn't answer your words, it mirrors your emotional state. So when you move from lack and urgency, it gives you more of the same. More striving, more resistance, more separation from what you seek. Think about it this way. When you're desperately chasing something, you're sending out an invisible but powerful signal that says, "This isn't in my life. I need it. Without it, I'm not whole." And even if you're consciously picturing success, love, or abundance, on an energetic level, you're still showing lack. Lack urgency, and the universe responding not to your words but to your vibes, it acts accordingly. Not because it wants to punish you, but because it reflects exactly what you're putting out. It's like a mirror. You can't expect it to smile back if you're showing fear. You can't demand a smile if you're tense. What you see outside is just a reflection of what's going on inside. So the key isn't to want less, but to learn how to want without anxiety, without turning your desire into a condition for feeling at peace. Most people don't want material things or achievements just for their own sake, but because of how they think they'll feel once they get them. We want money because we believe it will give us security. We want love because we think it will make us feel valuable. We want success because we link it to recognition, and recognition to feeling enough. But if you look closely, you'll come to see something quietly profound. You're not chasing after an object, you're chasing after an emotional state. And if that state depends on something outside of you, you'll always be off balance. Because if you don't have it, you'll feel like something's missing. And if you lose it, you fall apart. This is exactly why the reverse law is so valuable. It offers you a quiet revolution. Don't wait until you have something to feel it. Start with the feeling. Then the outside world can align with that. Not because you're rushing it, but because you're already vibrating in sync with what you used to strive for. You might ask, how do I apply this in real life? Because it sounds good in theory. But how do you live by a law that tells you to let go of a desire right when you feel it the strongest? How do you stop chasing something that deep down you believe is essential for your well-being? The answer isn't to get rid of the desire, but to shift your focus. Move from asking, how do I get this? To simply feeling whole, even if you don't feel that way yet. It's a subtle shift, but it changes everything. Start by paying attention to yourself. Notice when you want something out of anxiety. Don't push it away or judge it. Just watch it. Honestly ask yourself, am I trusting or am I trying to control? As you practice this kind of observing, you'll find something amazing. The more you let go, the more space you create. And that space, that's what's inside. Calmness is a place where the most unexpected things can happen without you chasing after them. Letting go doesn't mean giving up. Giving up means failure. Letting go means trust. It means accepting that there are things you can't control, and that's okay. It means realizing your worth isn't tied to what you achieve, and your happiness doesn't depend on the outcome. Letting go is a deep act of emotional maturity. It's not being passive. It's being involved without anxiety. It's moving toward your true self. Letting go doesn't mean judging your worth. In practice, it can just mean stopping the same question from running over and over in your head. It might mean not constantly checking if someone replied, approved, or if things are going according to plan. It could mean taking a deep breath and telling yourself, I believe this or something better is already on its way. And for now, I'm just living my life. Because when you let go, you're not moving away from what you want. You are approaching the self that transcends need, embodying wholeness beyond desire. And it's usually right at that moment that the universe surprises you. The reverse law doesn't mean giving up on your dreams. It doesn't mean abandoning your goals or ambitions. It means understanding where your support comes from. Because there's a huge difference between moving towards something with hope and chasing it out of fear. Real magic happens when you stop chasing something from a place of lack and start creating from a place of abundance. By allowing yourself to be well here and now, free from expectations or pressure, your desires transform from burdens into invitations. They're a natural extension of who you already are. Think about it. Bamboo can grow underground for years, and no one sees it. But it doesn't stop growing. It's just putting down roots. Then one day, out of nowhere, it breaks through the ground and shoots up several meters in just a few weeks. Inner transformation works the same way. Sometimes the results remain unseen because the one who changes is you. And when you change, everything else starts to change almost without you even noticing. Chapter 3. The boomerang effect of manifestation. Manifestation, a word we hear more and more these days. They tell us we can attract anything into our lives. Love, money, health, success. All you have to do is want it, visualize it, repeat it, write it down in a special notebook, or say it in front of a mirror. And it's partly true that thoughts have power. The mind is a creative instrument, and what you project with intention and clarity can blossom into reality. But there's one thing hardly anyone talks about. The universe doesn't respond to your words, it responds to your emotional vibes. You don't attract what you say you want, but what you truly believe and deeply feel. And if that desire is mixed with urgency, born from fear, comparison, or the need to control, then what you're sending out isn't a clear signal. It's a cry of lack. That's when the boomerang effect takes hold. What you send out in tension doesn't come back fully, it comes back with even more tension. You manifest, yes, but the opposite of what you expected. Imagine your desire is an arrow. You're the bow, and your inner state is the tension you use to shoot the arrow. If you pull the arrow with faith, calmness, and clarity, the energy you release is pure and steady. But if you tense up out of fear, desperation, or obsession, the direction slips away. And when you let it go, it doesn't reach the goal. Even worse, it comes back to you like a badly thrown boomerang. This is what a lot of people go through without even realizing it. They talk about what they want, but their body is vibrating with fear, and the universe listens to the body because the most genuine language isn't words, but emotions. You might say, I want abundance, but if you're saying it out of fear of lacking, you're actually attracting more lack. And here lies the great twist. At the heart of this chapter is the truth that you don't attract what you want, but what you feel in the act of wanting. This boomerang effect is subtle but very telling, and sometimes really frustrating because you see other people easily getting what they want. Or at least it seems that way while you're doing everything right, putting in all the effort and still waiting. Then you wonder, what am I doing wrong? Why isn't this working for me? The issue isn't that you're asking for the wrong thing, but that there's a disconnect between what you're asking for and what you truly believe. You deserve it. You can visualize wealth every morning, but if deep down you feel it's not for you, if you blame yourself for wanting too much, and if you link money with sacrifice or guilt, you're sending mixed signals. The universe doesn't interpret your intentions like a person would. It doesn't decode your plans or judge your goals. It simply reflects your true self. It's a mirror without morals. This mirror doesn't reflect what you claim to want. It reveals who you truly are. In the end, it's all about being true to yourself. So, the key isn't about shouting louder, but about aligning your feelings with what you say you want. Think about someone who's desperately looking for a partner. They sign up for every app, read about conscious relationships, and make affirmations in front of the mirror. But every date ends in disappointment, and every attempt gets rejected. Not because they don't deserve love, but because they're searching for it out of an urgent need to not be alone, out of fear of being left behind. Because of the anxiety that he's not good enough. And that energy, even if it's not talked about, can be felt. It gets picked up and often pushes away exactly what you want most. Or think about a creative person who desperately needs to succeed at work. They start rushing every idea, comparing every step, obsessing over the outcome. And suddenly, the magic is gone, because inspiration doesn't come from pressure. It shows up when there's space. The universe doesn't reject your desires, but first, it responds to how you are. How you feel when you ask for something matters. If you focus on lack, that's exactly what you'll get, even if you don't realize it. The real problem isn't wanting something, but being attached to the outcome. Wanting can be healthy, beautiful, and creative. But when you make it a condition, like saying, I'll only be happy if this happens, then that desire stops motivating you and starts draining you. This is where the boomerang effect reveals itself most clearly. The more emotionally dependent you become, the more you worry about something happening. In doing so, you reinforce the very idea that you don't have it yet, feeding the emptiness within. And it's that feeling, not your conscious intention, that you're sending out into the universe. Manifestation isn't like a deal where if you do it right, you get what you want. It's more like a dance. You do your part, you take a step, but you don't control the rhythm. And the more rigid you get in this dance, the clumsier it becomes. That's why miracles often don't happen exactly when you expect them to. When you're pushing the hardest and when you finally let go of needing it to happen. So, how do you break that cycle? How do you show up without getting caught in the boomerang effect? The key lies in the energy you choose to move from. And that energy doesn't come from demanding, obsessing, or feeling lack. It grows from being present, from appreciating what you already have, from being able to want something without turning that desire into an emotional trap. You can keep visualizing, affirming, dreaming, but do so as if you are planting a seed in the ground, with love, intention, and patience. Don't keep digging up the soil every 2 minutes to see if it's sprouted yet. Trust the process. Remember, the deepest things in life don't bloom under pressure. They grow quietly, in calm, in space, without rushing. When you show up from that place, there's no struggle, only clarity. And then the universe doesn't have to push you because you're already tuned into what you're asking for. The universe isn't a bank where you submit an application. It's more like a mirror, reflecting back what you truly are. And this mirror doesn't judge you or decide if what you're asking for is fair or if you deserve it. It just reflects you. It shows who you really are, what you stand for, what naturally vibes inside you without any effort or pretending. So, when you feel frustrated because something isn't happening, don't just ask yourself what you're doing. Ask yourself, am I doing this out of fear or confidence? From emptiness or from fullness? That question changes everything. If you want to start expressing yourself consistently, smoothly, and authentically, begin by clearing your channel. Keep an eye on your emotions, watch your thoughts, and reevaluate your beliefs. Allow yourself to desire without depending on anything. And above all, nurture the feeling that you're already okay, even if nothing changes, because it's from that place that everything begins to shift. Chapter 4. The Art of Letting Go. Letting go. A simple, straightforward word, but for many of us it feels uncomfortable, even challenging. Since we were kids, we've been taught to hold on. Hold on to what we love, what gives us confidence, what we want to achieve. We're told that giving up means failing, that whoever lets go loses, that loosening your grip means falling behind. So we mix up persistence with attachment and commitment with control. But in reality, letting go doesn't mean giving up. It's not passive or surrendering. Letting go is an active, strong, conscious choice. It's a decision made deep down that you no longer need something, holding on to something just to give it meaning, that you can keep wanting without depending on it, that you can move forward without clenching your fists. Letting go is like opening a hand that's been tightly shut for a long time. At first, it's hard, it's scary, but when you do it, you take a breath and suddenly realize how much space you were taking up without even knowing it. One of the most common mistakes is confusing letting go with giving up. We think letting go means stopping the fight, stopping the dreaming, stopping caring. People often confuse the two, but they're really different. Giving up means closing off your heart, while letting go means opening it up. When you give up, you shut down your energy. When you let go, you free yourself from what was draining you. Giving up is quitting because you've lost hope. Letting go is keeping on, even while carrying the weight of expectations. It's the difference between stopping paddling because you feel defeated and stopping because you trust the current will carry you. Letting go is an inner choice that says, this is what I want, but I'm not going to keep suffering over something that isn't there. It's important to me, sure, but I'm done letting my peace of mind depend on whether it happens or not. And that choice, no matter how small it seems, totally shifts your energy, and with that, your ability to accept. The real reason it's hard to let go isn't because we don't know how, it's because we're scared of what might happen if we stop trying to control things. Control is just an illusion we cling to, a false sense of security. We believe that if we plan, watch closely, and try hard enough, everything will go the way we want. But what happens when it doesn't? Because life rarely follows our script, we suffer. The fear of emptiness makes us hold on even to things we no longer need, to relationships that hurt, to jobs that drain us, to results that never come. We'd rather cling to anything than face the dizzying unknown of what's next. But here's the paradox. What you can't let go of is what's holding you back. It limits you. It stops you from getting what truly suits you. Letting go doesn't mean losing something. It means making space. It means telling the universe, I trust enough not to force things. And that's where real freedom begins. Sometimes the hardest thing to let go of is what we love the most. A person, a dream, or an idea of how life should be. And that's totally natural. Attachment hides behind love, pretends to be loyalty, commitment, even identity. We think, how can I let this go when it means so much to me? But the truth is, what you truly love doesn't need to be held onto tightly. You can nurture it gently with your presence and freedom, because if something has to be controlled to keep it from breaking, it's already broken at its core. Letting go doesn't weaken the bond. It makes it stronger by giving it room to breathe, because it takes away the pressure and demands and replaces them with something more honest, more human, more real. Letting go doesn't mean giving up. It means respecting. Respecting what is without trying to force it to fit your expectations. And that act of respect, That's love too. Letting go is also a challenge to the ego because the ego wants to be right. It wants to prove its plan was the right one, that its efforts will pay off, that its way is the only way. But sometimes letting go means admitting that it's not that this project wasn't for you, or that this person didn't suit you, or that the image you built of yourself no longer fits. It's not failure, it's growth. But the ego hates change. It clings to labels, achievements, confidence. That's why we often hold on out of fear of losing a part of ourselves. We think, if I let this go, then who am I? And the answer is both beautiful and scary. You become a new person, more free, more authentic, more at ease. Letting go means allowing yourself to be. Your identity isn't defined by what you hold on to, but by what you're able to let go of when it no longer feels right. Clinging to something that's stopped flowing drains your mind and wears out your body. The anxiety you feel from not letting go of a situation that hurts you turns into knots in your back, sleepless nights, and unexplained fatigue. The tension from trying to control what's out of your hands shows up as stiffness, shortness of breath, and emotional strain. Fatigue. And the scariest part is, most of the time you don't even notice it. You think living like this is normal. You think it's supposed to be this way until you finally let go and actually feel it. Letting go isn't just about easing your mind. It's about healing your body too. Because when you drop a burden you've been carrying for way too long, you get real physical relief. You breathe deeper. You sleep better. You move with a whole new energy. It's not magic, it's emotional biology. It's your body's way of reacting to finally being allowed to stop, survive, and start resting. Letting go isn't just an emotional or mental choice. It's also a deeply spiritual act. It's admitting that there are things bigger than you. No matter what you do to control every step, every conversation, every little detail, there's a part of life you just can't control. And that's not a threat, it's a chance to let go. That means to trust. Not that everything will go exactly how you want, but that whatever happens will be what you need to grow. Even if it hurts, even if you don't get it now, but it's like telling life, I don't have to have all the answers anymore. I'm open to whatever comes. It means letting go of the arrogant need to control and embracing the humility of surrender. And it's in that unseen surrender that powerful energy flows. It's the energy of conscious letting go, not as giving up, but as connecting to something bigger. Something you can't explain, but you can feel that you're not alone. You never were alone. It's one of the most beautiful paradoxes of letting go. The thing is, when you do this, you often don't lose what you were afraid of losing. Instead, you actually end up getting it. Yeah, sometimes letting go doesn't push things away. It brings them closer. Because when you stop clinging to the idea of a person or an outcome out of fear, you also stop suffocating them. You give them space, you give them freedom. And in that space, if something truly clicks with you, it comes back. If not, it fades away gracefully without any messy breakups. Letting go is like opening your palm. You realize that what's meant to stay won't leave, and what leaves was holding you back out of habit, not love. Letting go isn't a sign of weakness. It's a sign of deep confidence. Confidence in knowing you don't have to control everything for life to bless you, and that what's real and true to you doesn't need to be forced to stay. Letting go isn't a switch you just flip. It's not something that happens instantly. It's an emotional learning process, just like anything else. Deep healing takes practice, patience, and a lot of self-compassion. There are days when you think you've let go, and then suddenly it hits you again, you want it again, you suffer again. That's not backtracking, it's part of the journey. Your soul is learning to truly let go. Not just with your mind, but with your body, your emotions, and the story you carry inside. Letting go doesn't mean getting rid of the desire or pretending you don't care anymore. It means releasing the pressure you put on yourself. Urgency, the need for everything to happen right now, exactly the way you imagine it. Start small. Breathe, notice when you're getting too tense, and in that moment, do the boldest thing you can. Relax just a little, by a tiny bit, a single thought, one step. That's also letting go. When you truly let go, something amazing happens. Life stops feeling like a constant struggle or a test you have to pass every day. You start breathing differently. You realize you don't have to control everything for things to work out. All right, And you realize that often, when you stop stressing so much, things turn out better than you ever imagined. Synchronicities start showing up, relationships become more harmonious or get cleared up, inspiration comes back, and instead of being constantly on edge, you enter a more open, receptive, and creative state. Letting go doesn't mean you don't care. It means you can now look at the world without demanding that everything fits your plans. Feeling at peace with the world. And that makes you freer, lighter, more magnetic, because life isn't fighting against you. It's just waiting for you to stop resisting it. Letting go of that way of living. It's not a one-time thing or a trick you use once. It's a quiet philosophy that shapes your choices, your relationships, your lifestyle. It's choosing to trust, even when there are no guarantees. It's learning to move forward with confidence, knowing you don't have to have everything figured out to stay calm. Letting go doesn't push your dreams away. It frees you from the pain that comes from chasing them when they're not there. It brings you back to the present moment, to that space where everything is simpler, more real, and genuine. And from that ease, you start attracting what you once thought you needed. Not because you deserve it more, but because now you can accept it without fear, since you finally have room for it inside you. And if it doesn't come, that's okay. It's not scary because you no longer rely on it to feel whole. You've already let go, and in doing so, you've come back to yourself. Chapter 5. Unexpected experiences. When I let go, it happened. Real-life stories illustrating the power of releasing control. Alicia struggled with infertility for years until she stopped obsessing over it and allowed herself to relax and reconnect with life, leading to an unexpected pregnancy. Julian, a stressed freelancer desperate for contracts, found peace when he stopped pushing and focusing relentlessly, which coincided with a better opportunity arriving. Eva found true friendship when she stopped trying to fit in and started expressing her authentic self. Pedro received a better job offer after setting healthy boundaries and ceasing to overwork. Lucia met a meaningful partner when she stopped dating desperately and focused on her passions and self-fulfillment. Marty healed chronic health issues by listening to his body instead of fighting it. Marina found clarity on a major life decision after consciously stepping away from overthinking. Raquel's writing flourished once she stopped demanding perfection and wrote for herself. Jorge's personal growth blossomed when he stopped trying to fix himself and embraced self-acceptance. Claudia found peace and presence when she accepted uncertainty during a family crisis. And Natalia discovered a new career path after losing her job and releasing attachment to the old one. These stories highlight that often the breakthrough occurs not by pushing harder, but by stepping back, trusting the process, and opening to life's unfolding. Chapter 6. Acting without desire. Doing without expecting. We were taught that every action should have a goal, a task, a clear reason. That acting without expecting results is a waste of time. But there's another way to move through life. Acting without desire. Acting that comes not from expectation, but from flow. Not from needing to achieve something, but from the fullness of simply being. When you do something simply because it feels right, when you act in a way that genuinely reflects who you are, without seeking recognition, money, or immediate results, something interesting starts to happen. You find peace, you feel free, and often results come too, but as a byproduct, not a condition. Acting without desire isn't indifference. It's maturity. It's choosing to live guided by your inner truth, not by what you think you need to achieve to feel worthy. When action turns into pressure, there are moments when it stops being an expression. Turns into tension. When every action is loaded with expectation, pressure, the need to prove something, your body feels it. The joy disappears. Movement becomes stiff and you're no longer doing things out of love, but out of fear. You work because you're afraid of being nobody. You speak because you're afraid of being ignored. You post something because you're afraid of fading away. And in this cycle, you disconnect from yourself. Then the action loses its meaning. And even if you do a lot, nothing truly fills you. That's why sometimes the real revolution isn't about doing more. It's about stopping, doing less, but from a different place. Out of joy, presence, and genuine need. The art of doing things just for the pleasure of it. Think about something you do when no one's watching. something that gives you deep joy no matter how well you do it, whether anyone approves or if it brings any benefit. Could be cooking, singing, walking, writing, or taking care of plants. It's a pure act, without any outside agenda. Goals are a perfect example of acting without desire. That's what your true self is all about. It's not about what you achieve, but about what you choose to do, even if you don't get anything out of it. When you act from that place, everything changes: your energy, your presence, your peace. Because the soul doesn't need reasons to move. It just needs permission. Let go of the outcome. One of the greatest acts of inner freedom is doing something without knowing if it'll work, without any guarantees, without certainty, just because your gut tells you it's right now. Letting go of the outcome isn't apathy. It's emotional maturity. It's acting from confidence, not control. It's letting what's meant to happen, happen, and what's not meant to go without a fight. When you let go of the outcome, the path opens up because you stop pushing and start going with the flow. Act from your truth. Action without craving comes from your inner truth, not from someone else's opinion or society. Pressure, not out of fear of being left behind. Acting from truth means allowing yourself to follow what truly resonates with you, even if no one else gets it, even if there are no guarantees, even if it doesn't bring any obvious benefit. It's about living in harmony. And that harmony, though not always loud, is deeply magnetic. People who act from this place radiate something different: peace. And everything they build in that peace has soul. The power of quiet action. Not all that's valuable makes noise. Not every action that changes things is loud. Apparently, sometimes the biggest changes happen when you decide to act without announcing it. When you choose a small gesture, an inner improvement, a step only you know about, these quiet actions that aren't looking for recognition hold incredible power. They're seeds, and although they bloom slowly, their roots run deep. Living by acting without desire doesn't mean standing still. It means moving from a different place. It means turning I must into I am, choosing to act. It means giving value to the action itself, no matter the outcome. In a world obsessed with achievements, deciding to act without any expectation is a revolutionary move. It's also deeply healing because it brings you back to yourself, to your core, to that part of you that doesn't need proof, just self-expression. It's from this place, free of expectations, that the most amazing things usually start to happen. Chapter 7. A 7-day experiment. A sincere invitation. You don't have to believe in anything. You don't need to change your whole life. Just give it a try. Just allow yourself to have a new experience. Here's an invitation. For 7 days, pick one of your desires and let it go. Don't ignore it, don't suppress it, just let it go. Let go of control. Stop worrying about how, when, or if it will happen, and for 7 days live like you don't need it. Act like you're already complete without it. This is an experiment, not a rejection. Practice, not a rule. And what it might show you is more powerful than you think. Can you imagine that? Pick the right desire. Not all desires are the same. Some come from the soul, others from the ego. For this experiment, choose what truly matters to you, something you think about a lot. It could be a relationship, a job, a change, an answer, a dream. Something that makes you feel incomplete. That desire you chase, analyze, and project. Look at it kindly, acknowledge it, and then decide to let it go, not forever, just for 7 days. For 7 days. For days you won't try to make it happen. You'll just live without clinging to it. That's the whole point. Letting go doesn't mean giving up. At first, you might feel scared. You'll think, if I stop focusing on what I want, it'll never come true. But letting go isn't the same as giving up. Giving up means losing faith. Letting go means trusting so much that you don't need to control anymore. It means saying, this matters to me, but it won't control my life. Calmness. It means making space for things to happen naturally. It means living with the confidence that your well-being doesn't depend on outside factors. And that confidence transforms you. How to get through 7 days. During this experiment, watch your thoughts without getting stuck on them. When a desire pops back into your mind, don't fight it. Just breathe. Remember, For these 7 days, you don't have to do anything. Come back to the present. Do what feeds you. Move, create, take care of your body your own way. In your space, in your relationships. Allow yourself to just be. And if the desire grows stronger, that's okay. You're just noticing something you didn't want to feel before. Watch it, then let it go again. Nothing's guaranteed to happen. This isn't some trick to manipulate the universe. But when you stop chasing, something interesting happens. Things start falling into place. Your energy shifts, your perception sharpens, and sometimes what you wanted shows up in unexpected ways. Or you realize you don't want it anymore. You either need it or something way better comes along. It's not about the outcome, but about the inner change, the relief, the lightness, the freedom you feel when you're no longer attached to anything. Wrap it up. At the end of the 7 days, stop and look back. What's changed inside you? How did you feel? You lived more calmly, more openly, more mindfully. Maybe something changed in the outside world, but this exercise isn't about measuring achievements, it's about awareness. You might want to jot down your thoughts, share them, or just give thanks. Finish the mindfulness experiment with humility, because letting go, even if it seems easy, is a deeply transformative act. Live without chasing. This experiment can last 7 days, or it might open up a new way of being in the world. Lighter, freer, more aware, where your dreams still exist but don't control you, where you can take action without anxiety, where you choose from abundance, not lack. That's what living without chasing means. Let the universe reach out to you, and maybe, just maybe, in this act of letting go, your true strength will begin. The final epilogue, a shared story. If you've made it this far, it's no coincidence. Maybe something in these words struck a chord in your soul. Maybe you felt understood, that you're not alone, because this journey isn't just mine or yours. It's a shared human experience. We've all wanted something deeply at some point. We've all chased after something, thinking that it makes us happy. And all of us, in one way or another, have to learn to let go. What you feel doesn't make you weak. It makes you human. And admitting that is already an act of courage. It's a natural cycle of desire. Desire isn't the enemy. It's part of life. It's the spark, the movement, the drive that pushes us forward. But when desire turns into attachment, when we're no longer in control and it controls us, we lose our freedom. The key isn't to stop wanting, but to want without suffering. The key is to understand the natural cycle. Desire arises, we take action if it resonates with us, and then we let go of the outcome. That's how peace is born, and true abundance blooms. The gift of letting go. Letting go doesn't mean losing. It means making space. It means trusting that life has its own rhythm, its own timing, a wisdom beyond our control. It means allowing the new to come and the old to leave. It's not always easy, but when you let go, even just for a moment, a different kind of silence opens up, a deep calm, a feeling of being at home inside yourself, and everything changes from there. Coming back to yourself. Along the way, we talked about action, desire, and being present. But deep down, everything points to one thing: coming back to yourself. Going back to that space where you don't have to prove anything, chase after things, or control anything, where you can just be. Coming back to yourself means remembering that you're already good enough, that you don't need anything outside of you to feel whole. This is where life flows from. Not because it's not about making her flow, but about finally being in harmony with who you truly are. The power of presence. Nothing changes a person like being present. Here and now, no jumping into the future, no getting stuck in the past. When you're present, you see clearly, you hear better, you feel more. And in that presence, desires lose their sharp edge. Decisions get easier, the world feels softer, and you feel freer. If you've ever felt lonely on this path, know that you're not alone, not really. There are others, lots of others, going through the same journey. Some are letting go, trusting, and rediscovering the power of living without the chase. Every time you choose to pause, take a breath, and trust, you add light to this shared path. Don't underestimate your own process. Your small personal transformation is part of a much bigger change. The start of a different way of living. This isn't the end. It's just the beginning. The beginning of an easier, more mindful, freer life that's full of meaning, where your actions come from simply being, not from fear, where you can have dreams without being tied down by them, where you can love without holding on too tight, where you can move forward without chasing. And before you know it, when you stop chasing, the universe starts chasing you.